You say you want to improve. You say this time will be different. But somehow, you keep ending up in the exact same place. Same habits, same excuses, same frustration. And after a while, you start telling yourself something dangerous.
Maybe the system is against me. Maybe life is unfair. Maybe other people just have advantages I don't. But what if the real reason you're stuck is not failure? What if it's protection? Because sometimes staying stuck feels safer than finding out what happens when you genuinely try.
Have you ever had a day where you did everything right but still lost? You sat down, promised yourself this time would be different, put in the hours, and yet you ended up exactly where you started. Maybe it's a competitive ladder you've been trying to climb for years. Maybe it's a creative habit, a career path, or just trying to get your life together.
You start to feel like the game is rigged, like there's an invisible hand pushing you down, placing you in a metaphorical loser's queue, where no matter how hard you try, your efforts are canceled out by forces outside your control.
Today, we need to talk about why we secretly choose to stay stuck and the brilliant, painful way our minds protect us from the one thing we fear more than losing, finding out how good we actually are. Psychologists call this defensive architecture. Your mind is incredibly protective of your self-image. It wants to keep you believing that you are capable, smart, and full of untapped potential. But this creates a paradox. To unlock that potential, you have to try. And to truly try means risking undeniable failure. Think about the last time you received feedback. Maybe it was a boss pointing out a flaw in your report, a friend suggesting a different perspective, or someone telling you your entire approach was wrong. What was your immediate reaction? Did your chest tighten? Did a voice in your head instantly start defending itself? We see this everywhere. When people are told to change habits that clearly are not working, they almost always fight back. They say things like,
But someone successful did this exact thing and succeeded.
or, you don't understand, my situation is different. This is what psychology describes as searching for exceptions that protect your habits. Your mind scans the world looking for the one rare example that justifies staying the same. Because giving up the excuse means facing something uncomfortable.
That maybe you are the common denominator in your own struggles. There is another concept in psychology called self-handicapping, and honestly, it is one of the smartest and most destructive things the human mind does. If your brain suspects you might fail at something, it will often create obstacles for you before you even begin. You stay up too late before something important.
You procrastinate until the last minute. You avoid preparing properly. You choose distractions over discipline. Why? Because it creates a safety net for your ego. If you fail, you can say, well, of course I failed. I barely prepared. Your intelligence and self-worth remain protected. But if you somehow succeed despite the obstacle,
You feel exceptional. The obstacle becomes your excuse and your shield at the same time. And this is why many people secretly hold on to bad habits. Because if they finally removed every excuse and still failed, they would have to face a terrifying question. What if I'm not as capable as I imagined? That fear keeps people trapped for years.
Not because they cannot grow, but because growth requires vulnerability, and vulnerability terrifies the ego. There's also something interesting that happens when people who feel powerless suddenly gain authority. Instead of becoming patient and understanding, they often become extremely critical. They point out every mistake, they speak harshly, they demand perfection from others. Psychology calls this identification with the aggressor. When people spend years feeling judged, criticized, or powerless, they eventually internalize those voices. And when they finally get a chance to speak from a position of authority, they repeat the same behavior onto others, not to help them,
but to distance themselves from their own weakness. By criticizing someone else loudly, they temporarily escape confronting themselves. It becomes a cycle, a battle of egos instead of growth. And honestly, a lot of human behavior starts making sense once you realize how much of it is built around emotional protection.
Because most people are not protecting their future, they are protecting their identity. To break this cycle, something uncomfortable has to happen. You have to surrender the story you keep telling yourself, the story that you are uniquely unlucky, the story that the system is entirely against you, the story that your habits are secretly helping you. And most importantly, You have to accept that feeling incompetent is not permanent. It is simply the cost of improving. Growth is not clean. It is awkward, messy, embarrassing, and deeply uncomfortable. It requires you to look directly at your mistakes without blaming the world, your circumstances, or other people. And the moment you stop defending yourself from feedback, something changes. The pressure to appear perfect disappears. You stop protecting the illusion of competence. And finally, you become free to actually build it. The hardest ladders in life are rarely external. Most of the time, the real ladder is internal. Every excuse you let go of is a step upward. Every painful truth you accept about yourself is another step. It is slow, quiet, unglamorous, but it is real growth. So let me ask you something. What is the one excuse you know deep down is keeping you safe from your own potential? And what would happen if you finally let it go? This is Inner Mind Lab, where we don't just observe behavior, we understand it.